Hey there, Erica Swarthy Daisy here again. Quick video on DNA. This is my Aunt LB. We'll call her that for the sake of this video. But we're going to cover DNA, culture, and language. If you've been watching my channel for quite some time, then you'll know that I have had my great aunt, which is my mother's sister. So I had her, she's on my maternal line. I had her DNA tested some time ago. She has since passed away, but she was so gracious to allow me to test her before she died. She died at the age of 99. So before we get really deep into the trenches with this, we're gonna go ahead and look at who Aunt LB was. Aunt LB was born in 1917 in South Georgia. She was born into an agrarian society where her community's economy was based on producing and maintaining crops and farmland. She was one of 13 children who lived in a rural area with her parents, and they all lived nearby family members. Her parents were Matthew and Lou. Matthew was born in Georgia, but had family roots in South Carolina. Lou was born in Georgia as well, but had family roots in North Carolina. Here are Matthew's parents. Matthew's parents were Alonzo and Melinda. Alonzo lived in Georgia but had roots in South Carolina. Melinda also lived in Georgia and also had roots in South Carolina. Aunt LB's mother Lou's parents were Jack and Henrietta. They both lived in Georgia as well. Jack had roots, family-wise, in North Carolina. Now let's look at Aunt LB's DNA. First, let's look at the family tree DNA results. Her results are as follows: African 90%, West Africa 81%, East Central Africa 6%, South Central Africa 3%, European 7%, broken down as British Isles 7%, and then trace results: South America less than 1%, Southeast Europe less than 2%, and West Middle East less than 1%. Her haplogroup is L2D. Her living DNA results: Africa 94.7%, broken down as West Africa at 81%, Yoruba at 17.6%, Cameroon Bantu at 12.2%, Isan at 11.7%, Mende at 11.4%, Mandinka at 7.7%, Igbo at 7%, Ivory Coast Ghana at 4.8%, Akan at 3.5%, Benin at 2.9%, and Soninke at 2.1%. And East Africa 8.6%, broken down as Luhya 5.6%, and Kenya Bantu at 3%. Then we have South and Central Africa 5.1%, broken down as Mvambu at 2.6%, and Mbukushu at 2.4%. And lastly, we have Northwestern Europe at 5.2%. Taking another look at her West African DNA, as you see, Yoruba is in Nigeria, then she has Cameroon, you have Isan in Nigeria, Mende in Sierra Leone, Mandinka in Mali, Igbo in Nigeria, Ivory Coast Ghana, Akan, which is in Ghana, Benin, and Soninke in Senegal. And again, you have East Africa with Luhya, which is in Kenya, and then again, Kenya Bantu. Then again, we look at South and Central Africa. We have Mvambo people, which are found in Namibia. Then you have Mbukushu people found in that Namibia-Angola region. Then she had Europe, which encompasses Scandinavia, France, Great Britain, and Germany. Now that we've reviewed the DNA results, let's make connections to culture. Because Aunt LB had roots in South Carolina, let's take a look at the Gullah Geechee culture. According to Wikipedia, although the islands along the southeastern U.S. coast harbor the same collective of West Africans, the name Gullah has become to be the accepted name of the islanders in South Carolina, while Geechee refers to the islanders of Georgia. Now, with that in mind, let's go ahead and rewind. Let's look back to Africa. Africa can therefore be credited not only with giving rise to the many scientific developments associated with Egypt, engineering, mathematics, architecture, medicine, etc. Africa can also be credited with important early political developments such as state formation and monarchy. This demonstrates that economic and political development as well as scientific development was during this early period perhaps more advanced in Africa than in other continents. Some of the world's other great civilizations, such as Kush, Axum, Mali, and Great Zimbabwe, flourished in Africa in the years before 1500. In this early period, Africans participated in extensive international trading networks and in transoceanic travel. Certainly, some African states had established important trading relations with India, China, and other parts of Asia. The Atlantic slave trade resulted in the forced migration of an estimated 11 million Africans to the Americas. Only 9 million are thought to have survived the passage, and many more died in the early years of captivity. Historical accounts indicate that virtually all enslaved Africans brought to North America came from either West or West Central Africa. Among the important staging areas for the arrival and distribution of enslaved Africans were the ports of Savannah, Georgia, and Charleston, South Carolina. Estimates of the origin of enslaved Africans received at these sites came from the following places: West Central Africa, contemporary Angola, the Congos, Equatorial Guinea, and Gabon, and the West African regions of Senegambia, contemporary Senegal, Gambia, and Northern Guinea, and Upper Guinea, contemporary Guinea, and Sierra Leone, and northwestern Liberia. The Gullah Geechee people are an African-American microethnic group residing in the Georgia, South Carolina Lowcountry, and coastal islands, whose numbers are now estimated between 200 and 500,000 in the Sea Islands of South Carolina, Georgia, and North Florida, and beyond. Gullah Geechee language and culture include unique practices and artifacts. For example, coiled basketry, Brer Rabbit stories, and praise houses, including a distinct linguistic style with roots among the Mende peoples of Sierra Leone, West Africa. My aunt was mixed with different African DNA. Why was that? According to ncbi.nlm.nih.gov, Africans in the Carolina Coast region were intentionally mixed to reduce the possibilities for successful revolts and to facilitate their assimilation into plantation slave society. The contemporary Gullah Geechee culture emerged from these Africans. According to CNN.com, the Gullah Geechee people are direct descendants of West African slaves brought into the United States around the 1700s. They were forced to work in rice paddies, cotton fields, and indigo plantations along the South Carolina-Georgia seaboard, where the moist climate and fertile land were very similar to their African homelands. The article continues, brought to America from rice-producing Sierra Leone and other surrounding countries, the enslaved Africans came from a wide variety of ethnic groups. For many of them, the first contact with the New World was Sullivan's Island, just off of Charleston, South Carolina. Now let's make some connections. So based on the research article from the NCBI website, we do see a lot of overlap when it comes to my aunt's African DNA. So my aunt LB definitely has roots and DNA from Angola. She also has roots from Senegal, as well as Sierra Leone with the Mende people. So this is more confirmation that, of course, our ancestors that were taken from Africa and brought to the U.S. were brought to that region of the coast of the U.S. that includes South Carolina, Georgia, as well as North Florida. The CNN article continues to bring out what seems to be more certain is that Gullah Geechee people have preserved the cultural heritage of their ancestors more than any other Black Americans in the United States. Now let's look at language. More from the CNN article. The enslaved Africans and their descendants created the dialect in response to their own linguistic diversity. It is English modified under the influence of African languages. Any population that appropriates the language that is not their own, they are going to modify it. Wikipedia states, Gullah, also called Gullah English, Sea Island Creole English, and Geechee, is a Creole language spoken by the Gullah people, an African American population living in coastal regions of South Carolina and Georgia, as well as extreme northeastern Florida and the extreme southeast of North Carolina. Taking a look at this SlideShare image, we see on the left side, they have the Gullah Geechee version of a word. And then on the right side, they have the English version of the word. And what's so interesting is that my family from the South in Georgia still speak with that Southern dialect. So for example, one of the words in this chart is chillin'. They say chillin' to refer to children. I also noticed the word biddle here in this chart. We actually do use that word and did use that word within my family, but instead they would say victual with the V to refer to food. Now here's where culture meets dialect. My Aunt LB was definitely someone who utilized a lot of remedies from the earth. In the next audio clip, we're going to look at an example of the Southern Georgia dialect of my Aunt LB. Of course, this is a clip that is talking about some of the remedies that she used, as well as displaying the type of dialect that she inherited from that Gullah Geechee region and some of that Gullah Geechee heritage.
Now, you don't even know nothing about no sassafras, but that's a tree. You take the root of it. Now tell us what the gopher grass is for. Fever, cold. All that was for that, for the gopher grass. And for a stroke, people don't know that. For a stroke, when you gonna have a stroke, kerosene, white kerosene, camphor gum, turpentine, or 3 or 4 drops of turpentine. Put it all in there together and set it up for a day. And when you start to feel yourself feel funny, you go to the river with it, and your stroke is gone.
In this interview, as well as a previous interview, Aunt LB mentioned the following herbs and remedies. Sassafras root for maintaining healthy sugar levels for diabetics. Gopher grass tea for back pain, fever, pneumonia, colds, diabetes, and cleansing. Baking soda, which she called a doctor in a box. It was good for upset stomach and heartburn. Homemade potash soap was good for reducing swelling after a burn. It was also used for bathing or washing clothes. Rabbit tobacco was good for colds as well as reducing swelling on the skin. Stinging nettle was good for removing toxins from the body. And turpentine and fatback. That was used in combination to help draw out toxins and infections in wounds. So where did Aunt LB learn all of this from? She learned it from her mother, Lou. LB's mother, Lou, was known as the town's root woman, or medicine woman, or bush woman. Either way, people from all over the area came to her for remedies for illnesses. She even made house calls. Great-grandmother Lou used the woods to source her medicines. Based on the African tradition that was passed down for generations, she was able to go into the woods and see which plants and roots and stems, etc., were used for medicine. She knew it so well that everybody in the area depended on her wisdom. And that wisdom was passed down to my Aunt LB as well as my grandmother. I've seen my grandmother create some really creative and nice remedies. I also saw her put banana peels into rubbing alcohol before. I really don't remember what it was good for. Must have been something with her muscles, but yes, she used that often. And it makes me so happy to know that my ancestors utilized all of the natural properties that they had, all of the wisdom, and were able to impact their community in such a great way. According to intachopen.com, herbal medicine is a part and parcel of, and sometimes synonymous with, African traditional medicine. It is the oldest and still the most widely used system of medicine in the world today. The article goes on by quoting the World Health Organization, who refers to herbs, herbal materials, herbal preparations, and finished herbal products that contain whole plants, parts of plants, or other plant materials, including leaves, bark, berries, flowers, and roots, and or their extracts as active ingredients intended for human therapeutic use or for other benefits in humans. After looking at the DNA, the culture, and the language of my Aunt LB, we can see how much Africa has impacted our family. She was able to take tradition as well as keep and pass down tradition to her family members. It was such an honor getting to know and spend time with my Aunt LB. She left our family a great legacy through DNA. She, as well as a few of her sisters, lived well into their 90s. My grandmother died at 94. My Aunt LB died at 99, and one of their sisters was a centenarian, and she lived to 104. Thank you for making it this far. I enjoyed sharing my family history with you. I'll definitely share more videos about history and culture in the future. But once again, if you all are familiar with any of the Gullah Geechee culture or African culture, make sure to leave a comment below. Once again, this is Erica Swarthy Daisy. I appreciate you all so much. Thanks for taking out the time to watch this video. So as always, make sure to like this video. Also, make sure to leave a comment in the comment section below, as well as make sure to subscribe to this channel if you're not already subscribed. And lastly, make sure to share. Bye.